Thank you so much, Karina, for joining me on the podcast. You're such a beautiful, beautiful soul. And yeah, I'm just so blessed that you come into my world and you studied Reiki and you did some of the courses and you had a miracle happen after the training. So did you share with the audience a little bit about what happened and what transpired after you did the training and were in the vortex?
Yes. I think I was reading an entry from my journal as well of what I wrote like the day after I came from the Reiki 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And definitely I can read that for us.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so maybe a bit about me, like uh, in by end of year in 2021, I was in a car accident where I had I think like 6 to 7 like small injuries, and I had broken my right arm. So those were like on the right side. um, Definitely like me as somebody who was very like controlling, very overachiever growing up. I felt like definitely like it forced me to like slow down and really act from my sacred like responses. And yeah, definitely like it's been a huge journey, and I'm super like yeah, blessed to have you as my guide and have introduced me to different modalities. I know you work with RRT. So as part of my coverage for the car treatments, I also went to an RRT session. So yeah, maybe there's a lot to cover. So this was a few months ago. Yeah, so I will touch on that after we touch on the miracle during the Reiki session. So as you can see, I think yeah, like I'm a very passionate person. Like I have a lot of interest. So definitely like when I was in the hospital for like 2 months, and then it was Christmas, and then I was released for another month. So basically, like my body limitation was non weight bearing for on the right. So then I was with a nurse, I couldn't do a lot of things. And yeah, so and then after that, that's when like wow, like after a few months, even like a lot of my friends were like, oh, you healed so fast. But that's what they could see. Like I was walking, but that's not how I started. I was first on a walker, like like yeah, wearing a walker, and like a lot of like pains. I think my boyfriend who was taking care of me at home, like is the one that lifted all of that. And yeah, I think like I also used to have like breakdowns of like, oh, like this situation sucks. And of course I think it's totally fair to process those emotions. And definitely because my life was changed. Like I stopped working for almost a year, maybe 10 months. And then during all of that, I think I really held that intention that like, I want to be stronger. And how can I like, feel and nourish myself, and like, and then yeah, also thinking how can I be of service. I think that's something that I was thinking about recently, like that we are all like so like self-sufficient, but it's also like like how can I support my people. And yeah, like I need to be better, and I had to be selfish for a very long time. And I think that really like maybe like break through the point of like me before I was like a people pleaser, and like thinking like, oh, like there's like a manipulating technique of like you want people to control how they see you. So that's what I learned from you. and and yeah, so definitely like um yeah, like I'm getting to choose what's right for me during not just for my body, but also like I had some like nerve damage. So overall, like my immune system, like I had to like, like take a look at everything, like because a lot of things were not working out.
Yeah. May I say one thing here?
Yes.
So that you made some really good points. Like I had a similar situation, different than you, but it would like slowed me down, and the universe was like, stop and slow down, get on a new path. So like, I
Right.
love that you see that, because it literally is like, we're so trained to like hustle, 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 hustle. And we don't actually zoom out often and be like, why am I doing all of this? And is this in full alignment? And like you said, that period you had to go through, like we need to take care of ourselves before we can actually be of service to others. And once we're fully resourced, then we can be the best, like be of service in our best self. But like even you doing this podcast episode is being of service, because people are going to hear your story and be inspired by your story and to start to apply that to their own life and be like, oh, if she did it, maybe I can too.
Yeah.
Even if there's differences in the story, but the solution is the same. So like you already are being of service, even by just going through what you did, you became an inspiration. You become an inspiration for other people.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to like eliminate that, because you already are in so many ways that I think maybe we don't think about these things like, oh, with like one story, you inspired many people. Like, so there's many ways we can be of service, and there's many more. And I'm sure you already are, and you will be.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, in my new job, that's something like they admire during my interviews. They were like, "Oh wow, you overcame all of that, and you still have
Yeah.
so much like energy that you want to keep going."
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, about my experience, I think we did like Reiki connection, the connection symbol. That's also for the future, and so in the ceremony, we like did with a partner. So my partner was Carrie. She has been in the podcast as
Yes.
well. She's so awesome. So yeah, I wrote, wow, this was a powerful, divine, sacred experience, life changing, and that's highlighted. I've been skeptical, and there's no doubt no more. Practicing Reiki and energy work, receiving Reiki, a high frequency of love frequency. I was on the receiver end, and I asked Carrie to do time lapse Reiki for my future good health. And I close my eyes. I imagine a flower opening up in my heart, and I felt buzzing on my left arm. The energy is moving. I picture a gold filaments of my injured leg and arm. There's so much energy, so I felt like I'd be like moving. I am, because of like my limitations, I have not worn heels for a while. So I picture, yeah, I'm wearing heels. I'm swinging my body a lot because of the energy. By the end, I want to shout woohoo in excitement. All of a sudden, I see myself as a turtle. Now I've become stronger. My shell protects me, but I am safe now. Thank you for the unnecessary strength.
Our
And
team
then,
is there.
and then I wrote what happened with Carrie. I said, "Oh my God, Carrie saw first. She experienced my pain, so she was facilitating Reiki to me. And then she saw a lot of flowers blossoming on top of each other. It was so beautiful, and she saw them all over my body. And she saw an opulent wedding. She saw me dancing freely, and then she saw myself as an egg, like reborn, or maybe traveling. I had it's another dimension, egg. But yeah, like the symbol of like yeah, like that both of us, we saw like, shell, like I saw like turtle shell, and then she saw the egg, and it really made me think like, yeah, even like throughout the pandemic, like this body carries us, so we should be super grateful for
Yeah. So, oh my goodness, there's so much I want to say. That was so after that, you went home And was it the next day or the day
Oh
after?
yeah. So it wasn't, yes, the morning I woke up. And yeah, I woke up really early is to go to the washroom. And then I wake up and my so typically I have a lot of I used to have a lot of like tightness on my calf as well as the hip. So I was little limping a bit in the morning until I could get more like movement. So that was what triggered my like tightness, like not moving. Yeah. So yeah, then I am walking and then I'm like, oh my god, I feel so free. I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I didn't want to jinx it. I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And then I wake up and then yeah, I feel like so like if like the emotional like the container that was there like was lifted in the hip, in the calf. And then I went to my dance class and I also felt the same. So I was like, oh my god, this like it's here to stay.
Yeah, it's so crazy when you like the healing arts, it continues to boggle my mind. It's like, because pain is also, we carry trauma and pain. It's like an emotion that's stuck, right? So like when we're bringing high frequencies and energy to it and love to that, like some people are going to think I'm crazy listening to this, but it's true. Like it transmutes it and then the pain's gone. And it's literally like magic. It's not magic, but it's literally like magic. It's frequency, and everything is frequency. And there's frequencies for healing and there's frequencies for disease. And that's caused by trauma or memories that are stuck in the body that just need to be released. And like, it's continues to boggle my mind, the stories that I hear from like students or people who have studied any type of energy healing, really. Like, I've studied many, and the one that you studied from me was Reiki, but they all have their own place, and like miracles can happen from this. And so it's the same thing, like when we're trying to manifest something, whether it's like abundance in whatever form, all forms, or heal physical ailments or heal disease. Like, Carrie's story about how she healed her eyes and my story about that. And like,
Right.
it's using the same thing. She did that in decoding manifestation. I mean, you were there for that.
Yeah.
Oh, this work is like so profound. And thank you for sharing, because I hope this inspires other people who might be struggling, whether they were in a car accident or have chronic pain or, or trying to heal a disease, that it is possible, because it is. And if it's possible for one, it's possible for all, period. So like it becomes the 4-minute mile where like they see you going through this or me going through my own iteration of it. I mean, there's been many, and I didn't have a car accident, but a lot of other situations. Some of them were health, some of them were physical injuries, some of them were, I was told I was going to go blind, but like going through that and coming out the other end with this type of work, which isn't that well known in North America. It's coming, it's Eastern medicine. Miracles can happen. Miracles, and they have happened. I literally have a friend right now at a retreat, a healing retreat, and he's recovering from cancer. And I'm like, just go. He's like, there's no room. I'm like, just show up. And he just got in, and like, he's going to see the science of all of this stuff. And it's just like so profound, so profound. So I'm so happy for you. You're so cool.
Yes, I think in the following days as well, like my therapists, they were like, oh wow, like now you're struggling more with your left, like with all the exercises. I'd be like,
Yeah.
so I was like, yeah, yes.
It's cool when the doctors and therapists are like, physiotherapists are like,
yeah,
they're like, how did you heal this? Like, what's going on? And you're like,
my chiropractor, like I asked him about like I have some tingling nerve on my like close to like the, I don't know, like the foot. And yeah, so I've been working on it, and like honestly, like even especially when I do the activations from your course, like I feel a lot of energy moving. It's happening in like in real time. And especially me, I am very sensitive because of my ongoing like nerve like growing. so yeah, so he told me like, oh, you might never be able to heal them. I'm like, no, that's not what I want at all. I want to be good. And yeah, yeah, so I go to acupuncture as well, and like my therapist, he has like a laser gun that most people don't feel, but I do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And now I know like the blood's flowing better, and like
That's amazing. Yeah, God, those I love facilitating activations because the energy stays in them. And it is like it's already done. Like you're already, I mean, you've already experienced this, but like when people are they're like, I'm going to heal, I'm like, it's already done. Like you're healing and the body's catching up. The body is catching up and it's
yeah. And a lot of times, yeah, for these diseases, like you said, like in the Western world, like they admire like big pharma, they want to pay money.
yeah,
Even me, for my pets, like I have to invest in something. And like when really we're forgetting like our power, and like that's something
yeah,
that came like during like a card reading, that like the card I pulled was the shaman. And then I realized, you know, I am the shaman, so I
yeah,
am my own healer,
yeah,
and I have that possibilities. And yeah, so like
yeah.
looking within. Um,
And that's it. Like you are your own healer. I had this conversation, it'll be on the podcast too, but it's also on Instagram with one of my private clients in Hawaii, and she's an energy healer as well. And we were talking about the discrepancy because there are some like healers out there who are unconsciously taking away people's power and making them think that they need to rely on them. Whereas like we're like, no, you are your own healer. Like you, even in a healing session, like you've done the shamanic breath work with me, like everyone there is their own healer. Yes, the environment is such, like with Reiki, when you bring the energy, or when you're healing your dog, using energy healing for your, not your dog, your chinchillas. Did I get that right? Yeah. Or on somebody else, or on your foot, like you are creating the environment, but they are their own healers. So like to really, really empower people that everything is within us, and it's all frequency, and we can heal ourselves. And it's, yes, it is easier to do it in certain environments. This is why I still do like my own, like I go to a lot of meditation retreats, because it allows me to heal or manifest in a high frequency environment. But I realize like it's still me doing it. You know what I mean? And it's
yeah,
you doing it, and it's somebody else doing it. Like we're just facilitating that, and the environment and such, because it's the environment, it's epigenetics, it's an environment around the genes or the cells or the body that really allows the healing to take place. But the body is still doing its own healing, and you are your own healer. And that's why, like, I'm so happy that you took the Reiki course, because it's like now you can use it every single day, every single day. And you can teach it to other people, or like, I mean, you haven't done teacher training, but like you can, you can just teach them energy. You can teach them the power of energy. I want to hear about, sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, I was telling that yeah, I think that the car accident was an invitation for me to fully relax,
Yes.
and listen to my body. Like it's telling me what's aligned for me and what isn't. Even like the small little things. I think that yeah, I think like I really catch a vibe when I get into a room, and if I don't like a cafe, I'm welcome to like walk out. You know,
Yeah.
like yeah.
That's literally, that's it. Like we're magnets. And like in decoding manifestation, I talked about this, like we're always getting coded. The question is to what? Like are we getting coded to incoherent frequencies? Are we getting coded to like poverty? Or are we getting coded to abundance? Are we getting coded to like love? Or are we getting coded to lust? Like it's everything's frequency. Like, so trusting that. And like when people ask me like, how do you manifest like things so quickly or like with so much ease? And I'm like, exactly what you just said. I trust my body. I set the intentions. I become an energetic match to it by clearing the trauma, clearing the limiting beliefs. And I make choices in alignment with it. And then I trust my body to guide me. It's the pineal gland. Like we have it right here. Like this is our guide. Our body's wisdom is so innate and powerful, and it's within all of us. The things that block it are like our subconscious programming that might have, aka like data blips, RRT, or another word for it is trauma distortions. Like, our only job is to clear that, and as we clear that, we rise, and then we trust our body as the guide. And all of our soul desires are so possible. They're beyond possible. Like, they came to us from the divine. And so we just need to listen. So many people aren't listening. And when we do, like, things just happen, and we're so good at so taking care of it.
I keep pulling the card of ancient wisdom on the card deck from Sherry Lynn.
Here, wait, what for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So and it's a funny thing, because like during the past month, I keep pulling the same cards. Because always ancient wisdom, I think it's surrender. So
Surrender, yeah, that's a really good one.
So then, yeah, I thought, like, what modalities did my ancestors used like for healing, and definitely, yeah, like I feel a lot of connection with that. Like, yeah, I'm from Peru as well, so that's like a lot of like nature, and feeling like a lot of like yeah, feeling God's presence, really, like looking at the mountains. When I went to the Canadian Rockies, I was like, wow, like,
Yeah,
it's crazy. And I think, yeah, it's also very interesting because I watched some shows on Gaia, yeah.
of course.
Yeah, so they said, I think that like the intuitive, or like the heart of the world was for like however hundreds years in the Himalayas mountains, and now it's moving to South American mountains. Like, there's a lot of energy, especially in Argentina.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people go there for deep healing.
So yeah, like in terms of that, like the history of Peru, like it's like, I don't know if you heard of the Incas. Well, they were like adoring the sun and other symbols like the moon, and like very connected to that, to nature cycles, and yeah, so yeah, like it's sort of like, yeah, from there, that wisdom of like we are light, we are the sun. And so it comes from with us.
Yeah, that's I have like three things to say. That's so because sun, like the sun carries codes too. So it's like these light energies have information. And then the more we've cleared and like raised our vibration, the more, which is like what the activations do, as you know, the more light and information can come from the sun, which also soul, SOL, like it's this work. This is going to sound like probably a little bit crazy, but I swear my best ideas have come from the sun.
Wow.
Been outside.
I remember. I'm so curious.
Some of the stuff that I taught in decoding manifestation, I was in Cancun and I was at a meditation retreat and I was swimming. Yeah. And I was like, there was things like, I've been studying this work for years, but it's like things will come to me that I hadn't connected before. And so swimming, and I was like, that actually came. I was like, the sun carries information. It's like light. And I was like, they're light codes. And I didn't realize like light codes were like the information from the sun. And when people are like, trust the information that you're receiving, the codes that you're receiving, I was like, what does that mean? And then I got it. I was like, oh, the sun, literally, it was like the sun. I'm like swimming in the sun, and it literally came. It was like a lightning beam. And I was like, oh, that's what coding means. That's what they mean by codes, light codes. It's carrying information, and there's information and frequencies for everything, for health, wealth, love, like abundance of anything, meaning like it could be like friendships, experiences, job opportunities. And then they talked, I remember like I had a flashback in that moment, and it was like the more light our bodies can carry, the more information can come through. And then I was like, oh, meaning the more trauma we clear, the more light can come in the vessel, because it's just a vessel. We're a vessel for information. I don't know if any of this is making sense.
Yes, yeah.
And then all of this started coming. And then I was like, I realized again, what I taught at the beginning of Decoding Manifestation, like the projector, and I saw an image. And that's why I Googled those images for the course. I launched the course right after this epiphany. It took me a year and a half. I had been writing that course for a year and a half, but it wasn't ready until it was. And I'm like, how do I explain this to people? Because I've experienced it so many times. I've helped people experience it, but how do I explain it in a way they'll understand? And I literally saw, it was like the sun was like projecting codes and information and making it manifest in 3D. And then I saw a projector from 5D in the slide projecting that information into the hologram in 3D. And then the projector, I was like, oh, the slide of the projector, that's what people need to shift. That's what I've been trying to explain to people, but I didn't have that metaphor. And it literally came from the sun as the sun was projecting. And I was like, okay, I got it. That was the final code. Now I can facilitate this, but I needed a way to explain it that I didn't see before that specific moment. And so the coding is like the frequency, which is in 5D. It's in our energy field. So you clear the energy field, you shift the energy field, and then it shifts in 3D. The healing happens, the manifestation happens, the abundance happens. But so many people, wow, I'm channeling now. So many people are hustling and trying to change everything from 3D, or like for health, like just modern medicine. And then when that fails, they look elsewhere. This is happening to a family member of mine right now who's working with my first healing mentor who lives in Cyprus. Beautiful woman. I love her so much. Her name's Garcia. So that's why energy work works. That's why when you're manifesting, you can't just know it. You need to actually shift the frequency. You can know how to do it, but then it becomes a craft and you practice it by hand. And then you know it by it's like fully embodied in wisdom. Like I wasn't always as powerful a manifestor as I am now. It came with practice and clearing a lot of trauma. And I'm still doing that. Probably will do that to the day I die. I had a session with Dr. Connolly yesterday. It was a health intensive, but anyways, so when we shift it from the field, meaning the energy body, and clear the distortions here, then it all of a sudden, the hologram shifts in 3D, because this is incoherent. And then once this is coherent, then that becomes coherent. A non-coherent, for everybody listening, like frequency would be like we'll just take an abusive relationship. So that is a byproduct of a non-coherent frequency, a distortion in the field. You clear the distortion, you shift the energy, the other things exit your life, and you don't even actually have to do anything about it. And I know this because I went through that. It was like one energetic shift that was so profound, caused by and the incoherent frequencies, by the way, the distortions are caused by trauma. So when that happens, when you clear that, then the 3D reality just takes care of itself all the time. Okay, I pulled cards for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
A card, well, I pulled one for you and then one for me, and then one for the episode. So initiation is the card I pulled for you. And like, I feel like the accident, although it was not like pleasant, it was a huge initiation, because look what you've learned to trust your body, to trust your wisdom. Like that's life-changing stuff. And learn how powerful you are to heal yourself and be an inspiration for other people. And then what I pulled for me, which is what I pulled the last few days, of course, she repeats cards until we're done with it, is transformation. I'm going through another iteration of myself right now. And it's full of aunks, which I wear often. I'm not wearing it right now because my chain broke, so I'm wearing Isis, but I wear the ankh. You probably see me wear it a lot. And then the card I pulled for the podcast is intention. And my intention for this is to show people what's possible with your story. As
Yes.
an example. So RRT, can we talk about that for a second? I'm
Yes.
so happy we did a session. I also with cutting, I'm obsessed with this modality. Like I feel so blessed to have found Dr. Connolly. Were you in Surrendering into Abundance? I can't remember the first time I launched it.
I watch it like after. Yes.
Okay, amazing. So I met him during that. Yeah, I met him during that course. Actually, I was in a trauma response the first time I launched it, and I had to go through my own initiation. I was in trauma response, and I booked a session, and he cleared it, and he cleared one of my deepest traumas, and I was like, "Who are you?" Like he came in my vortex literally a few days before that, and that shift was so profound. One of the best investments I ever made. And I'm like, I don't need another certification, and I need to study with you. I'm going to do all the courses, and I'm redoing the clinical hypnosis one now. And I've been using his teachings in all of my courses and with my clients. And like, I refer so many people to like his trainings. I am not affiliated. I don't even think he has affiliations, but they're just so powerful for anybody who's in the healing arts or the mental health industry or the addiction industry. And literally right before I hopped on this call for the podcast, I was cutting a different podcast with him where he actually facilitated a RRT session for me. And it ended up being a past life regression. It's powerful. So I highly recommend listening to it when it's up. I'll send it to you. But yes, rapid resolution therapy for all of the listeners. If you are a healer, if you are a addictions recovery facilitator, a therapist, or even a coach or mentor, I highly recommend that modality because it is powerful, and I've been bringing it to all of my teachings. So who did you book a session with?
Yeah, her name is Sherry. I don't know, Sherry Johnson. Yeah, she's in Vancouver. So I went to the directory of RRT, and I was like, oh, okay. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
It was an online session.
Amazing. Most of them are online. I've never done one in person, although Dr. Connolly might be doing in-person ones soon. He said yesterday. So I was like, well, I will do them. He's like, I want to travel and do them. And I was like, I would love that. Sherry, that's also very synchronistic because I was supposed to go meet my friend in Richmond right after this call, but she's just really tired. So we're going to meet tomorrow. But she heard about RRT through me as well. And she also booked with Sherry. I've never booked with Sherry.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, that's so funny. That's super cool. But yeah, do you want to share a little bit about your session?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah. I really like to have that reframing of negative beliefs into positive affirmations. So that I think that was something that we did, and that brought me a lot of empowerment. So really my session was very focused on how can I say this, maybe I couldn't go on a highway super fast, or I wasn't ready to drive. I'm a first time learner. So definitely and then the other memory that I wanted to disassociate was me and my partner, we watch movies. I think we watched some Marvel movie, and they it's like Doctor Strange. I think he was in a car accident. And then I told him I don't want to this was months, maybe 2 months ago. I told him can you skip that part because I know I'm gonna break. Because before I used to carry a lot of emotions, and then another movie we watched, there was a bombing and people injured, and of course because when I injured my arm, it was wobbly, and when I was stuck in the car, they had to rescue me. It was a serious accident. It appeared on TV, and they had to cut the windshield. They had to they transfer me in a board, if I was they didn't know what was injured, so they had to transfer me in the board, and they have to airlift me. So obviously when I saw that war scene or things like that, and they are lifting people like what I went through, it was like heartbreaking for me. And especially, I am very sensitive person as well. Like I don't even like to watch Game of Thrones because it's like, everybody kills each other, I don't like it. But anyways, yeah, these functional memories were the ones that I wanted to clear. I wanted to feel safe, and yeah, and the sense of security, even like crossing the street, it's like a lot of habits that changed for me. Yeah, because I wanted to play it safe. I thought like, and it was a lesson too that I learned from what happened. It's like my safety is the most important thing. I, next time I travel during the winter in Canada, it's like I should take a plane, maybe. So I think what we did was so she made me like, first was like like picture like in my mind, like what is that like incoherent, like thought and about the car accident, and then like feel and like swipe it, and then what are you calling me now? So that was one. And then the other ones, I think, like the affirmations, like, oh, like, thank you for the unnecessary strength, but I am safe now.
Yes.
And thank you, and like thanking my body about ongoing pain. Also, thank you for protecting me, and but I am safe now. So a lot of safety and
100%.
And then and after that, like it was instant for me. Like she asked me like, oh, are you gonna start driving? I said yes, like why not? So then I started like the first time in the command.
Yeah. Okay. So crazy. Another synchronous.
Oh yeah, and then I have more, but
okay. Okay, I'm gonna pause really quick here. I have 2 things, and then I want to hear the rest. So one of my mentors the other day was like, you need to watch Doctor Strange, and I've never seen it, and you just brought it up. So I'm like, is this a sign? But yeah, it's so powerful because like what happens, the listeners, and if for yourself, if you didn't go over this in the RRT, like is the unconscious mind, like we know consciously, it's like when you're in the shower, like I took a shower this morning, so I am very aware that right now I'm not in the shower. But with these moments of trauma or data blips, the event, if it's traumatic, freezes. So we know it's not going on consciously, but our unconscious mind thinks it's still going on.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah. So it's like all of a sudden we're in fear, fight and flight, because the resonance is similar. And then once that's cleared, the fear goes away because it's not necessary, it's not useful. And then we actually can think, some people think the fear is protecting them, but it's actually making us stupid because blood rushes from brain to legs so we can run faster. But that's not useful when you're driving. You want to be able to think consciously, like have access to your intuition, to your creativity, to logic. And we don't have access to that when we're in a state of fight and flight. Everything becomes incoherent. It's also the same with manifesting. We can't manifest when things are incoherent. We have to be in alignment, brain, body, heart alignment. And when we're there, then it becomes really easy. So just for the listeners, I want to like illuminate what's happening and why, like if people have triggers, like example, there was a guy in my building who like, why do I get angry when I see this guy? And I also got super insecure. And I'm like, what is going on? So Dr. Connolly cleared it for me. It was actually related to when I was bullied in junior high. And there was some resonance with him that was bringing up these memories, but I didn't know what they were. All of a sudden I would just go into fear, and my body felt like threatened. And it thought that bullying was still going on, even though it was like so long ago. And I like just cried in the session and cleared it. Like I just had to release the energy, and now it's gone. I can see this guy and it's like nothing. Like I don't feel this insecurity. I don't feel a threat. And that's the power of this work, which is so many people, I feel, don't even realize it's possible to get rid of.
Yeah, it's like the more we avoid something, it's like the mind thinks it's like dangerous.
Dangerous, yeah. And the more we walk towards it,
Yes.
mind is like, oh, it's safe. Absolutely. And if we make something important, then our mind also thinks it's a threat.
So that's when, like my homework was like to start driving.
Yeah. Yes.
And then the other thing I think was like I have a scar that I'm getting treatments with laser. But it's a scar and it takes a long time even to match my skin color. It's like it's here, it's in my arm, and I tend to like hide it. And she told me, oh no, don't hide it, just go to the supermarket and make sure people see it. And or like go for a walk, and she's like, oh, there's no there's no reason, just go for a walk and with a tea, like and like just walk outside, and the same for like driving the car, like just go for a ride, don't pick up anything, there's no reason, just go.
Yeah, go with the intention of not, oh, I need to get to this place, but the intention of
I'm to clear it.
I'm keeping my mind that this is safe. Because if you do it with, I just need to get here, but you're still afraid, then it doesn't get rid of the fear.
I think like the first time, like I did go outside, but I went to take out the garbage with my t-shirt. That's just like, no, that's so definitely, like that consistency.
100%. And it's also like, again, I don't have a scar, but I struggled with like body shame for a while. And it was RRT that actually really helped me. I had tried like everything, but that's it. It gets into your unconscious mind. And I also helped one of my clients with that as well. Like she was dealing with, from sexual trauma, like a lot of body shame. This is a while ago. And I used RRT, and it's been a very powerful. I mean, I still use all of my other trainings, like my shamanic training and energy work, obviously, and Reiki and all the other things, and quantum integration, but RRT is becoming like one of my favorite tools to use. I'm like,
to be honest, like I feel like like we are so self-conscious, but really like most people don't even notice. I used to have a therapist that he had a scar just like mine on his left arm, and then I told him like, oh, like I'm getting laser, like it was like we are just like catching up, and then he said like, oh, I also have a scar, it's right here. I'm like, what? Like I did not see it ever. And then the few times that like especially when I'm home, that's when I just wear whatever. And like my brother-in-law came, or like a friend came, and they're like, oh, can I ask what is that? I'm like, yeah, that's my scar from the accident, so it's also sending it love, like I survived, like this is. And like I don't think like really people care or give a fuck at all. It's just in like our mind.
100%. It's all in our mind, and it's beautiful. It's like a sign of victory and triumph, which incidentally is my business. Okay, I haven't told many people, but it was supposed to be called Ascension Business Coaching, and now it's called Jai Inc., which is Jill Alana International Inc. And it came to me as I incorporated as I was biking. And the ABC coaching, Ascension Business Coaching, like the name didn't go through when I was incorporating my business. And then I was going to retry it. There was a problem with the system. It was available. But then I was biking and I was like, Jill Alana International, I think it needs to be named that. And then I was like, Jai, I wonder what that means. So I stopped, I look it up, and it means victory. And I'm like, that's the name of my business, victory here for everyone's victory. And it's so crazy. I do Kundalini yoga every morning, almost every morning. And that's like my teacher talks about victory all the time. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's super cool. But it's a sign of victory. Like how amazing. How amazing. It's
Yeah, my physiotherapist also said because I have like a metal inside, like my arm is even stronger. I can even carry more.
Yes, these frames. That's gold. It is. It is. Okay, thank you so much. Is there actually, I have one more question for you.
Yes.
What is your favorite manifestation that you've had, or synchronicity?
Let's see. We met by thinking. I think even like getting my new job. I think that was like so like I had been like visualizing like I wanted something like what I had before or something better. So I was like thinking like, oh, I want to work. I want a job downtown. I want a team based in Vancouver because my previous one was like mostly online. So those were my two asks. I want that, or like like something in my field that I like.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and like yeah. So I, in like I think this role has opened like a lot of like even like learning opportunities. Like
Yeah.
there's a big community. I feel like people like coming to conferences as well. So I really love that. It was like very local, and yeah, that it came, and like the way it came to like I think like the location was not based in Vancouver. It was like close by, and then like my sister, she had been telling me, oh, you should apply because it's bilingual and you speak French, and like she was encouraging me, and I was like, oh, I don't know, is it? And then it was not in Vancouver, so I was like, oh, okay. But anyways, yeah, like that night before, like I applied. I think I submitted it like late at night at 10, and it was a long application, and then yeah, like and then I went to Peru. I think like I submitted it. I got a first maybe 2 interviews. So I did a presentation, and then I was like, okay, I think this is gonna work. This is gonna happen for me. Okay, so I went to Peru. I was like, I deserve my time with my family.
Yes, you do.
And then I was just waiting for that confirmation. So then I'm having this dinner with my dad, and then I got the job. So that
amazing.
Awesome. And I also didn't get the first job, so that's interesting because the experience before was on social media. So they told me like they hired someone else, but they considered me for another role. That role like allowed me to grow more into.
Amazing. Look how powerful you are. It was already done in the divine. And yes, you can have it all. I want to illuminate this because I'm so glad you went to Peru, and then you were having a beautiful dinner with your father, and then you got the confirmation, and your soul already knew it was done. And the other one wasn't fully, this one worked out better than the other one could have. And some people get attached. Yeah. Oh, and it's like, no, it's like divine protection. And then you get this thing.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, I think it's also the intention. Like back then, I was really motivated. I need to start over. So I was getting so many interviews. Even while I was waiting for that, I was in another interview. So yeah, like now, of course, my mind is more distracted in like other things that I'm focused on. So if I send something, I don't hear back. So it's like really is your mind that's holding.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful. Like even today, I was like, I'm kind of tired. I was supposed to meet a friend. And then I swear a second after I had that thought, she's like, hey, can we reschedule for tomorrow? I'm a bit tired. I was like, tomorrow, yes. That's it. Like we're all connected, and our minds are so powerful, especially the unconscious mind. So it's like, we got to be watching our thought patterns, and we can rewire those, and we can prune synaptic connections and create new ones. And they therefore create a new reality with this work. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You're such a beautiful soul, inspiring so many people. Is there any last words that you want to share with the audience?
Yes. So I had a human design reading. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
I absolutely am. I did my one-on-one.
Yes. Yeah. So I think like all my gates are open. So it's like I'm a very flowy person. And like I also embody the feminine. So that was interesting because I think like symbolically the fact that I had my right side, like it meant that there is an imbalance with my left, which is the masculine side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe like I do feel like reversing roles, like from what my parents' relationship had, versus now, like maybe I'm more independent. My parents are more traditional. My mom wasn't working, and she's very dependent on my dad, even emotionally, like too dependent. So yeah, maybe I always like to take leadership, or like, yeah.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
But I definitely want to deep more, to like deepen that understanding of like what does that mean for me, like the masculine traits.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
just so the audience knows, whenever we get an injury, spiritually, it has a meaning. So like the masculine is the right side and the feminine is the left. So an example of this from me is when I felt really ungrounded, very unsafe. I kept getting injuries on the right side of my body, because masculine is also safety and structure. And then it was from the waist down. So I tore my ACL, I broke my foot. And then I hurt my hip, and it was all like boom, 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 basically within like a few months. And so they're just signs of where we can do more work to develop that part of ourselves. So for you, Chokra Ray, the symbol, that's a grounding symbol, strength and grounding. So you can use that and bring that energy into whatever you do, because the thing is, you are very feminine, you're divine feminine. It's so beautiful. And the more masculine structure we have, AKA safety, security in our energy field. I'm not talking about the illusion of security exterior. I'm talking about in our energy field. So bringing that, like you can even put that on like your feet or like on the right side of your body. And then just notice like, okay, where can I bring structure, a little bit more structure in to allow myself to flow? Because the more structure and safety we have, the more we can flow. And actually, the more we've developed our divine masculine in our energy field, the more safe we are to be in our feminine. So just looking at, okay, where can I bring more structure in or more safety so that I can flow in my feminine or be in my feminine even more, because that's your natural. But developing that is like a skill. So we all have like certain things that are developed. I'm also very feminine in my chart. I'm like 98%. And it's interesting because when I'm like working, when I'm doing energy healing or teaching or working with clients, or like running my business, like I'm very in my masculine because that's required, but I had to work a lot on that. And I still could, I mean, I worked with a coach, one of my coaches, she was like, you're so feminine, you're so in flow, but you need more structure. And I was like, no, I don't need structure. Yeah, it's restricting. But the more structure I have, the more ability I do have to flow. So I found a balance, but that was something I really had to work on, because actually for a lot of my life, I was in my toxic masculine, even though my feminine was like naturally where I wanted to be, but it was from fear. And then I cleared that and I went all the way into my feminine. And then I was like, I think I need some more structure. So I just started to pay attention more to details. I started to create certain structures in my life so that I could, and I use that symbol Chakra Ray on my feet and my lower abdomen almost every single day. And that brought the energy. So naturally I started to be more organized and more structured. And then from there, I was able to be more in flow as well. So those are things that you can just notice and start to bring in piece by piece by piece by piece.
Yes, I love it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Go ahead.
That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I love you so much. I'm sure I'll see you.
Love you.
I'm just sending you so much love and congrats on the new job. Write it in the Facebook group if you did you write it? Maybe you did. God, there's been a lot. I can't keep track. If you haven't written it, go write it.
I got a contract. Yeah.
Oh yes, you did. You did. Okay, well, I'm celebrating you here. Double celebrate. And the next manifestations right in there so we can celebrate you. I love seeing them. It makes my day.
Awesome.
Big hugs, big kisses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.